or match build up by the time you guys watch this. I've been planning to release these usually just sort of maybe 2 hours or so before the match, just to give you sort of a build up view into it. So rather than doing these previews 2 or 3 days before, I'm going to actually release these 2 hours before the match, so it can sort of get you like pumped up for it. So this is going to be sort of a preview slash build up to the game. So by the time you watch this, hope in about a hour or half an hour's time, we'll actually get the full lineup, and I expect it to sort of be basically this lineup that you see here. That's what I expect the lineup to be. I don't think that Solskjaer will change anything. But before we get into this whole preview match build up, if you're new to the channel, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, United X, and smash that notification button for the latest Manchester United news, and also consider becoming a member to support Old Man G here. So yeah, it's in the title, as it says, a tough game, and it's gonna be a tough game. Okay, for me, I feel like this is the. I mean, I don't know what the situation is going to be at the end of the season with Leicester, but I certainly think for now, this is going to be a tough game, because the way I sort of see it, this is kind of Villa's last chance. If Villa don't beat Manchester United at home somehow, they're probably going to get relegated. So Villa are going to play. This is not going to be. I know people just. I see a lot of people just saying, it's a 3 points. We're going to do this. Underestimating Villa. We've got the quality, and you're right. We do have the quality to beat Villa. And I'll explain why in a minute. But the reality is, before I even get started on the lineup thing, is that Villa, you need to understand that Villa will be playing for their lives, their livelihoods. This is not going to be a normal game. Okay, this is literally like I don't think it's impossible mathematically, but it's almost a certainty that if they don't win this game, they're probably not going to survive the drop. So the reality is that, like, we need to be prepared for that as Manchester United, So because, like I said, these players have been playing for their livelihood, for the livelihood of the staff, the community. When I come and think about these things, sometimes you just kind of realize. I don't think you really realize how significant relegation actually is to teams, especially when you support a big team. Because the reality is that when they get relegated, it affects jobs, it affects work, it affects money, it affects life, it affects so many things, So that might give obviously Villa the added pressure, and they might not be able to handle that pressure. So it's not necessarily an advantage, but it's just a warning that they're going to be coming. This is not the Villa side that finished bottom of the table. I think some 3 or 4. I think it's about 3 years ago now, where frankly they couldn't look like they couldn't be asked, and then they just kept on they just didn't care, and they just, I think Lescott was the captain or something, and they just looked awful. This Villa looks like they're at least not going to go down without a fight. So yeah, that's my pre-build-up warning. Manchester United, if you're listening as you go into this game, these players, you've got to take these guys seriously. There can't be any complacency, and it is going to be a tough game. So let's just get into what I feel the starting lineup will be. I said this is going to probably be confirmed in the next half an hour to an hour or so. David De Gea obviously in goal. I don't think there's going to be much change. I mean, in my previous preview, I thought Solskjaer was going to make the changes, but he decided not to. Given the fact that we've had 5 days rest, I highly doubt that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to make massive changes here, because all the players should be well rested. Lindelof, Mike, and Gava is an injury boost. So in no particular order, David De Gea obviously in goals, keeps his place, no reason to change. Luke Shaw obviously playing at left back. Maguire and Lindelof are going to be the centre back pairing unless one of these guys picks up an injury, in which case presumably Bai will come in. Wan-Bissaka obviously on the right hand side. Matic obviously, having a fantastic return to form, which is why it's been rewarded recently with like I think it's another 2-3 year. I think it's a 3-year contract actually given Matic, a 3-year contract. But he's been playing superb, prime Matic almost. So this midfield, I would argue with anyone, is probably the best midfield in the league. Well, close to, I think, and certainly next season, if they keep on playing the way they will, it will be, because I think the City, David Silva and Fernandinho are leaving at the end of the season, and I don't think a midfield of Bernardo Silva, Rodri, and Kevin De Bruyne, as good as Kevin De Bruyne is, I don't think it still beats Pogba, Fernandes, and Matic, in my opinion. But anyway, that's my opinion. Obviously, ahead of match, we've got Paul Pogba, who's having a great return to form. He seems happy, seems buzzing, and fingers crossed, especially if Sancho comes in, he's seeing where United are going. Potentially, potentially, he can get that signature on that dotted line, and we can basically, if we can sign Pogba on a new deal, for me, that's like a new signing, to be honest. So we've got that in the bag confirmed, and then we can add and strengthen. So because he's been amazing for us, and it's just great to see him and the chemistry that him and Bruno have. Speaking of Bruno obviously will play up to, in a more advanced position, probably the number 10 role. Um, he just I just love the interchange between the four, between Rashford, Greenwood, Martial, and Fernandes. At times, Fernandes looks like he's playing at number 9, but Pogba is sort of playing a slightly more drawn role, but still, pinging passes, giving that creativity allows Fernandes the freedom to be able to do what he wants to do. Now, of course, yeah, there's still a few things like knowing when to shoot or not to shoot, so taking shots off, but I think it's learning that, and like his penalties and obviously his free kicks are second to none, So Fernandes is obviously going to be there where he's played. Rashford obviously on the left. I don't think that's going to change, even though I think I'm still a bit concerned about Rashford's form, and whether he's still recovering from this back injury. But it is what it is, and he's still doing what he can contribute to the team. So fingers crossed, Marcus Rashford can continue to improve and recover. Mason Greenwood, my guy, this guy is something special. And to be honest, this is good because the pressure to get top 4 is something that Mason Green hasn't had to deal with before. There's actual pressure on his shoulders to perform, and he's just been growing from strength to strength. He scored some key clutch goals for us. The one I remember in particular was the Everton one to salvage that draw at Old Trafford. That was it. That was a very, very important goal, and Greenwood got it for us. So fingers crossed, Greenwood could get some important goals once again. Dribbling on that right hand side, causing defenders all sorts of problems. 2-footed. I expect goals from this kid, and hopefully these next 100 games he can become a regular in this team. And up top, Martial is a number 9. Martial obviously does a lot of stuff off the board that a lot of United fans don't really appreciate. And at the end of the day, these front three, or the three musketeers, I call them. In fact, let's get the three musketeers up, shall we? These guys, man. These guys are something else. I'm calling them the three musketeers, man. Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood. You could probably add Bruno in there as like the fourth musketeer, as the D'Artagnan, as it were. So, but these guys, these three musketeers, have scored more goals in all competitions than Salah, Mane, and Firmino. Let that sink in. Martial with 20, Rashford with 20, Greenwood with 15. More goals in all competitions than Salah, Mane, and Firmino combined. This front three, okay, is something special, okay? And they're still young. I mean, Greenwood has just turned 18. Rashford, I think, is just turned 22 now, I think. Martial, I think, is probably 24. None of these guys are in their prime. They're not in their prime at all. They're not, so they're still young players. Prime for me, for forwards, is probably when you start to, when you're like 26 to 20, 26 to 29, I would say, before you start to drop off again. But 26 to 28, definitely. These guys are not. Maybe Martial should be starting to come into it, but certainly Greenwood, Rashford, no, So I'm really excited to see what these three can do, and I really, really, really hope that they can come up with the goals again, because we need to win this game. We really, really do. It would be hesitant to me not to mention Villa's obviously star man, and that's this guy, Jack Grealish. We need to be aware of Jack Grealish. I haven't seen him being, to be honest, that effectual in the last few games. And if we do win, like I said, I think that's probably it. I think it will be interesting because obviously United have been linked with Jack Grealish quite a bit. I think if we did sign him, he would certainly add depth to our squad. I think that he doesn't necessarily walk into this starting 11, but I do think he gives us a bit of, if Fernandes is injured, for example, you can put Grealish up there, because that's probably where the position at Grealish would, but I don't think Grealish would really play in the more withdrawn Pogba position. But he's basically, it would be a good alternative to Bruno Fernandes, so whereas Pogba, we've got Fred McTominay already, so I think it'll be interesting because Maybe he wants to play really, really well to impress potentially his new club, or maybe he wants us to do a favour so he can play in the Champions League. I'm curious to see what Jack Grealish or how Jack Grealish will feel exactly. You know, um, whether he'll be like, I want to really impress, show them I'm good, blah blah blah, blah, so that they so that they so that they sign him, or whether like he'll try and ease off the gas a bit, bearing in mind that like if he obviously causes us problems, we might not potentially get the Champions League. So who knows? Who knows? But we are linked to Jack Grealish, and at the end of the day, United need to obviously keep an eye on him because this guy can obviously be quite dangerous. It is what it is. Sorry, I should be messed up a few, but there. So score predictions. Oh, sorry. Score predictions. What do I think? I'm actually going to be conservative and say that this is going to be a 2-1. Villa's defense is, I guess Sheffield United Brighton's defense wasn't no slouch either, but Villa's defense is relatively solid. No, they don't really get battered, really, from what I've seen. I can't remember the teams where Villa have been battered 4-0, 5-0, 3-0 consistently. I've not really seen that. I think the thing with Villa and why I'm somewhat relieved, well, not as concerned, is that the Villa they struggle to score goals, basically. They struggle to score goals. And I think Villa's tactic will be essentially to try and nick a goal and then just kind of defend really deep. Yes, maybe get on the counter-attack a bit, but their main goal really will be to try and nick a goal and to hold on as much as possible. I think that type of style at this moment in time does suit Manchester United, because if Villa do nick a goal and give Manchester United the ball, I think Manchester United, we've got enough creative players in that team that we can eventually, slowly but surely, break this Villa team down, whether that's with a corner or a set piece or a foul or a free kick or goodness knows what. We have enough quality inside to break this team down. So ideally, we should score the first goal. And then allow Villa to come out at us, because they'll have to, because they've got no choice, because they've got to survive. And if that happens, then we can just go in for the kill. We'll have enough space to be able to cause them problems, I think, if we obviously score first. If we don't score first, it's obviously going to be difficult to break them down, especially the likes of Mings in defense. But I think, like I said, the reality is that like we have enough quality in the squad now, barring injuries, which I don't think there will be. And like I said, the starting line will be confirmed in the next half an hour to an hour. We should perfectly be fine. So I'm going 2-1 to Manchester United. But apparently, and this is interesting, apparently, if we beat Villa by more than 3 goals, it'll be the first time in the Premier League that a team has won 4 successive games with a 3-0 deficit. So let's go for records. Anyway, guys, if you're new to the channel, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, United X, and smash the notification button for the latest news. Stay tuned, because we will have our match simulation, FIFA match simulation, coming up. Let me know if you agree with the scoreline result of that. And then after the game, we'll be having our instant match reaction, fan cams, and live stream post-match reaction. So make sure that you stay tuned. Have a nice day, guys. Enjoy the game. Come on, United. We can win this. Cheers.